Good evening. My name is Nicholas Smith. This is my video presentation and PowerPoint presentation for Communications 308, interpersonal communications. I'm doing my presentation on The Blind Side. The Blind Side is a story about a young man named Michael Oher. The story is based on a true story. Michael Oher lived in Memphis, Tennessee. He came from a very dysfunctional background. His mother was a drug addict. He had multiple brothers and sisters who were taken from him at a very young age. So he kind of just spent his whole life wandering the streets. As he got older, he had met a neighbor who kind of took him in, would watch out for him, and eventually got him into a Christian school in Memphis, Tennessee. Why he was attending this school, he was actually taken in by the Tuhuli family. They were a very affluent family. They were a white family. Michael Oher is actually a young black male. So they took him in and treated him like he was their own child. Leanne, who was the mother, she really did her best to embrace him and love him like she would either one of her children. And it was through this relationship that was sparked and built that Michael was actually able to become successful in school by graduating high school and then moving on to go play football. He was a high school football star, but he went to play football at Ole Miss, and then eventually was drafted number one in the NFL by the Baltimore Ravens. Some of the concepts and theories that I saw that can relate with this movie is the social comparison theory is one. This is a theory that affirms that individuals compare themselves to others to develop and feel for how talents, abilities, and qualities are measured up to their own. Obviously, I got that from our textbook on page 41. You really see this play out in Michael's life with how he interacts with everybody. He is a very large young man, so he towers head and shoulder over the majority of his fellow classmates, but he's very timid and very shy, partly because, like I said, of his upbringing. So he's kind of known as this gentle giant, if you will. But it really plays out to see how he becomes and how he starts to develop his personality on the football field. What I mean by that is in the movie, they try him out for the football team, but even though he is athletic, he doesn't fully buy in, and that has to do with the coach. He didn't feel that the coach truly had his back and trusted him and watched out for him. And during one of the games that they were playing, Michael was getting beat on every play going against another player. And a penalty was called against him, and the coach stood up for him against the referee. So what Michael then did was he exerted himself to show the coach that he is now buying into what he feels, that he trusts him enough to display all of his talents, all of his abilities against everybody else. And then another theory that I see is the reflected appraisal theory. This theory states that the self a person presents is in large part based on the way others characterize him in the individual, the roles they expect him to play, and the behavior and traits they expect him or her to exhibit. Uh, this is really displayed in his academic upbringing. Um, the teachers at the school that he went to, which was a very prominent, a very tough school to attend, um, all figured him to be dumb, to put it in layman's terms. They thought that the school did him a disservice by allowing him to come there because he wouldn't be able to make it. But one of the teachers actually took the time and didn't believe in what everyone else thought. And even though that's what everyone felt he was, this teacher showed him that's not who he was. And you see, as the movie goes along, he begins to gain more and more confidence. He begins to do better in class. He begins to understand the material that they're showing him because he bought into what this teacher was trying to, or bought into that the teacher believed in him. So he exerted himself to show the teacher that he, in turns, believes in her. Some of the concepts. One is confirmation. Communication that tells a person that his or her self-image is affirming. This is really played out between Michael and Leanne. As Michael is getting recruited by different colleges, he's torn between two. He's torn between going to Ole Miss, which is his new family's alma mater. It's where everybody went. They're very proud, and then he's torn about going to Tennessee. Tennessee was the bitter rival to Ole Miss. So as he's being recruited and the conflicts that ensue with that, Leanne finally asks him, "What school does he want to go to?" Because throughout this whole entire time, everybody is portraying the school that they feel he should go to. Obviously, the family believes he should go to Ole Miss because that's where they went. But then Leanne tells him, "I think you need to go to Tennessee. It was one of your top choices." And he decides to actually go to Ole Miss because that's where his family goes to. So Leanne really shows that she believes in him. Another concept is rejection. His whole life, his mother being a drug addict, the schools that he went into, neighborhoods, he just never really fit in. He was always rejected. And even going to the Christian school at first, people rejected him because of who he was, how he looked. And then you can see that he gets over all of that. The final concept is perceived self. This is a reflection of one's self-concept, the person one believes oneself to be when one is being honest with oneself. And you see Michael actually change this in throughout the movie. He went from this very timid, very I don't want to say a pushover, but just somebody who wasn't very strong. He wasn't able to stand up for himself. Towards the end, where he becomes his own man. He now believes in who everyone else knew he could be. He's just no longer a boy. He is now a man. So I can't wait to write my paper on this. This is one of my all-time favorite movies. If you have not seen it, I highly suggest seeing it. It's a great inspirational movie. Thank you.